feeling like booty, but it is my duty to host this show right next to that there cutie. Mike Williams, is he a foodie? A lot to discuss on today's Boy Green Meets Wudi. Coming now.
Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field Gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor Gosh darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
It is a wonderful, wonderful day to be a New York Jets fan. Welcome to the next or this current episode of Boy Green Meets Wudi. I am James Wudi, Boy Green, right here. Tell me how you doing.
I mean, we're on Mike Williams' watch. That's how we're doing. That we've gotten another thing. Get the binoculars out. Get whatever's going on out. Mike Williams, formerly of the LA Chargers, was dumped on the side of the street, and he's going on a little bit of a what do they call that? Like a fellowship tour. It's like a courting. A courting is what's happening here, and he's gracing us with his presence. He arrived at the facility last night. Now he's here today, doing a visit. So, I think we're all fired up for Mike Williams' watch, which, by the way, we got to give a couple of shout outs right off the top and to Jets Twitter for doing God's work here. All right, let's start off with NYJ Matt. If you guys haven't seen this, you're not on Twitter or social media. So NYJ Matt sends this out yesterday, and it says, Mike Williams' breakfast sandwich is on its way. Let me know when it arrives. And he tags the New York Jets, and it has confirmed your order arrived between this time, that time, one Jets drive, all these details. And NYJ Matt has done this sort of thing before, and it's like going viral, right? So he's getting a lot of things happening. Then this morning, the New York Jets respond with a picture of the bag, and you can see it says NYJ Matt on it, and they said, got it. And now it's gone viral. It was on ESPN Sports Center earlier. You could see it here for the little sandwich he got him. NYJ Matt is written in there. So a quick shout out to NYJ Matt that got this party started with the sandwich. It's so cool. That's going viral, and the Jets are getting creative. We've had cupcakes before. We did that for Dante Hightower, and now sandwich for Mike Williams. That was funny, and it's still going viral. It's on. I just saw it on ESPN earlier. Crazy.
Absolutely. I mean, greatest fan base in the world. It is a privilege to be a part of it. And Mike Williams, I mean, this is what you can expect to be fed. All right. Never go home hungry or go to an interview or a meeting hungry, because we will take care of you, Mike. That is the pitch. That is the plan. I hope it works out. I mean, I see a couple of comments already talking about I will be over the moon if Mike Williams is a Jet. Well, fire up that spaceship, baby, because I will be right up there as well, over that moon, if Mike Williams dons that Gotham green.
That's for sure. Okay, let's also give another shout out to Optimistic Jets. And if you forgot this story, so this joke may go over your head if you don't remember the OG, the origin story, but the Twitter account Optimistic Jets, which is a great follow, both NYJ Matt and Optimistic Jets. When Saleh, so the Jets fired Gase, and they're looking for the next head coach, and it was all secretive, like who are they going after? Optimistic Jets, that Twitter account, posted a picture outside of the Jets facilities late at night saying Robert Saleh arrived, and he had a little Escalade Cadillac thing that was pulled up right there. And basically Optimistic Jets at that point became Bush guy, and that they were outside the Jets facilities with binoculars and everything, trying to give us the latest intel. We had Jet fans booked at the Jets facilities, and they gave us another shout out here. So here we are. They were on Mike Williams' watch earlier today for the visit, with the same picture outside of the bushes of one Jets drive. So shout out to Optimistic Jets. And also to shout out NYJ Matt for getting this party started. Again, Jets Twitter is undefeated. Social media. And this is amazing. So I love how Jet fans rally. And let's get into it with Mike Williams. He was cut by the Chargers. I don't think he's a perfect player by any means. But boy, he's just talented. Former first rounder, big boy, would complement Garrett Wilson merely from their skills. It's yin to yang. And in a lot of ways, again, if you're constructing a basketball team, you do want complementary action. You want someone who could sprinkle a little salt, and then you want to mix it up with a little pepper. And that confuses defenses because they got a lot of things to kind of base themselves off of. And Mike Williams brings to the table, he's a way faster and better Alan Lazard, basically, is the simplest way to say it. He's got a big frame. He's fast as hell, vertical presence. Like Lazard doesn't bring that. Lazard ain't taking the top off of defense. I don't know what he's taking the top off in general, to be honest with you. But specifically, as it pertains to the vertical element, he just brings all that to the table. And as long as he stays healthy, which I guess is the caveat on a lot of the players the Jets have kicked the tires on this offseason, like he could be dynamic. And catching passes from Aaron Rodgers, come on, what are we talking about here, Woody?
Poor Lazard, man, catching these strays. That is definitely an oversimplification for sure to say that he's a blank Alan Lazard. He is dynamic, to say the least. He truly is. Definitely taking the top off the defense. These acrobatic catches, and you want to talk about salt, you want to talk about pepper, but both Mike Williams and Garrett Wilson have kind of already made a name for themselves for widening their catch radius by being able to jump, contort their body, and actually make these crazy catches. So for Aaron to have two dynamic guys like that, I mean, it would just be a blessing to see 2,000-yard receivers, right, on this New York Jets team. I think it's almost a no-brainer at this point of the game. At this point in the game, unless they make a trade for, and I don't want. I mean, obviously everyone's saying T. Higgins, but even Ayuk, something like that. Unless
Devontae, yeah, I got you.
Is made, this is the best possible option for the Jets at receiver, in my personal opinion, is Mike Williams. Tyler Boyd is not going to be the same caliber as Mike Williams. Yeah, nice high floor, slot guy, big slot guy. Mike Williams is a different echelon for what he could do for this Jets offense. If they miss on Mike, even, if we talk about rookies, coming in, potentially drafting, somebody, okay, maybe there's a learning curve. Mike Williams or trade, those are the options to bring the Jets to this super high level of the offense that we're fantasizing about today.
And the value. I just saw a tweet. I quote tweeted it and gave some extra additional details. Spot Track was telling everybody about all the guaranteed money that the free agent wide receivers got this offseason. Like Calvin Ridley got $50 million. Gabe Davis had 20-something million, and all these numbers. Like Mike Williams is signing a 1 or 2 year deal, whether it's with the Jets or anybody, to reestablish his value so he can dip his toe back into free agency, being in it of, he got to free agency, not he was cut. Like, that's what he wants to do. And again, with all due respect, the other teams, Carolina, back to the Chargers, what was the other one? Pittsburgh. Like, come on, what are we talking about here? Come on, Mike. Like, they cut you. Now you're just going to go back to them on a brand new deal? Why would you do them a solid? Screw the Chargers. They threw you out into the streets. You were begging for change on the side. And now, okay, they want to come back to you. No, screw them. And by the way, I got a bunch of people in here from across the pond. Does Mike Williams have a back signal we can look for? Jumping in here. NY Flight Jets talk with Boy Green meets James Wudi, the full name there. I can appreciate that. We're getting a lot of love. I also see you guys on Instagram as well. Cologne, Rican 75, worried about overpaying Mike Williams. I again, to me, I think the price is going to be reasonable. The Zach Rosenblatt had a conversation with Brad Spielberger of Pro Football Focus, and Brad's done a really good job of nailing a lot of the contracts we've seen this offseason. He believes Mike Williams is going to get like a 1 year deal for $8 million with just incentives to potentially get him a lot more. sign me up for. Someone asked me the other day, "Hey Paul, what would you pay for Mike Williams?" I'm like, 1 year, $8 million. That's where I was because I'm amazing and I say things and they're just right. They just feel right. They come out right because they are. So sign me up for that any day of the week. You brought up Tyler Boyd. His average per year projection was 8 million. So 8 million Tyler Boyd, 8 million Mike Williams. I think I know where I'm going. So yeah, Mike Williams is a spicy meatball. And also I want to throw this out there as well, that Connor Hughes of SNY, who just had a little video, he must have been on SNY TV. He said that the Jets were going to quote unquote prioritize Mike Williams when he was set to be a free agent a few years ago, but he ended up getting tagged and then he signed the 3-year, $60 million contract. The Jets wanted him then. Now they can get him, in Connor Hughes' words, at a quote unquote discount. So, he's in the building. And I will ask you this before another thing we're going to do on top of this free agent update on Mike Williams is we're going to give you guys the top 5 needs still for the New York Jets at this moment in free agency and heading towards the draft. So we're going to give you guys that as well. But before we move on from the Mike Williams thing, let me ask you this, Woody, because this conversation's floated out there. Because he has a Carolina visit. He has a Pittsburgh visit. LA is kind of hanging out in the background to see if the market doesn't develop. Could he just come back to them? Would you let Mike Williams leave the building? Would you do what it takes to make sure Mike Williams doesn't leave, which is always an option when you get the first visit, which is exactly what the Jets got with him arriving last night and him being there today? Would you let him leave the building? Would you get aggressive, or would you let him walk out the door and go through all his other action?
I'm so glad that was what you were going to bring up, because that's what I wanted to talk about. And then, you said, oh, we're about to get to this. I was like, let me actually bring up this point. And then it was the exact thing. Whew, great minds, boy, Green. Great minds think alike.
You're welcome.
Or maybe they won't, because we might disagree on the answer to this question. But I personally believe no, it's okay to make your pitch. All right.
Oh, so you were for letting him leave?
I am for letting.
Oh, okay. When he said no, I'm like, oh, wow.
He has other meetings on the docket. You got to respect people's time. All right. You have to have faith in yourself as an organization, right? Like what you were saying about, LA and all the different, Carolina, right? You have to have your faith in yourself, in the New York Jets organization, that, hey, this was the pitch. This is, what we're going to do. This is the offer. All right. They let Robert Saleh leave, right? They let Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook had a meeting with the Jets, right? And then he was on the news doing all the pressers and all that. I mean, letting them leave, what does that really mean? It honestly, I think, is a show of respect of, hey, this is your time, right? You got these on the calendar. I'll respect your calendar, and then I'll patiently await your call when you hit me back for that contract. So I think letting him leave is the right. I wouldn't be worried, right, if he leaves and he's not. I know a lot of people will be blowing up my inbox talking about, oh, I can't believe they let him leave. We've let so many people leave and they come back. All right, have faith in what the organization is putting forward in front of these players, because it's worked in the past, and I think it'll work right now.
By the way, I got additional details because I knew that Mike Williams went to Clemson, of course, because, like I said, I remember being there. But a Carolina reporter told me he lives 2 hours away from where the Panthers play, I think is what he said. And so he made it seem like I said there was talk in the social media streets about him visiting Carolina, obviously, later this week. And a Panthers reporter was trying to give his pitch for why Mike Williams could be there. And one of the things he didn't say was the homecoming. And so I tweeted, I'm like, well, playing around his home's got to help a homecoming. And the Panthers reporter came back at me and said, hey, like, it's not even that close to home. So, like, that's not even really a pitch. I went, well, okay, I'm fine with that not being a pitch for the Carolina Panthers. But a Panthers reporter came at me. I'm like, okay. I'm like, fine with me. I thought that had to be the intrigue, because, like, just playing with Bryce Young just doesn't sound interesting. I think I am, and thank you to the 1,000+ people that are watching Boy Green Meets Woody Plus that are on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. We appreciate you. Make sure you guys, wherever you're watching, like the video, hit subscribe, hit the follow button wherever you're watching. We're live every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 o'clock, so we appreciate the, like I said, the 1,000+ people that are in the room right now. But to me, I agree. I let him leave depending on what it is, right? So if he, like, the free agent visit ends, and you're like, oh, wow, that was great. And then I would probably, before he leaves, go, so what are we talking about number-wise? Because sometimes that doesn't happen on the first free agent visits from what I've heard in the past. That sometimes it's just meeting the players, meeting the coaches. Like, because apparently, according to Josina Anderson, Tyron Smith was in on one of the meetings with Mike Williams today. So that sounds really interesting as part of the recruitment and the pitch. Like, why not? And by the way, random aside. So Tyron Smith had this quick little video on the Jets Instagram story of like 2 seconds. And he goes like, hey, Jet fans. Can't wait to be here. Like, let's get to work. Yeah. And I heard that voice. I'm like, good Lord, have mercy. I'm like, boy, I hope he's in that meeting. You say that. You better sign here with the Jets. Okay. When and where? Pen and paper. You want it in blood? Like, I'm ready to go. So I'm just saying, Tyron Smith being in that meeting can only help. But it depends, though, because like I said, if you do get to the contract discussion at the end of this meeting, and you say, hey, what would it take? And he puts a number on the table, and I know what my number is. And if there's enough room there to do it, I have no problem closing the deal and let's go. But I don't think I'm willing to go. And I think that's really what this indicates, his thought, because his thought was out there in the universe about with all these other visits. Would the Jets just close the deal and say, nah, we're going to wrap this up real quick? It's like, I don't think I'm willing to go way and above my number to secure that he doesn't. I don't think so. Hopefully the meeting went well, and on his other visits, even if he got another offer, he felt so good about the Jets that hopefully he presents it to the Jets. Hey, would you like to match? This is the number I just got from Carolina, or this is just the number I got from Pittsburgh. There's where hopefully there is that trust, love, whatever there is there potential for the Jets, because I feel like the Jets pitch is in this wild pitch. We're just going to give you the most money, because I don't think the Jets are going to give the most money to some of these other players. Carolina could pay him a crazy bag as far as I know, but the pitch is Aaron Rodgers, Super Bowl, go get another bag of money next year. Well, that's pretty compelling. I think that's a pitch.
Definitely cannot argue with that. I mean, and I feel like if we know anything about Saleh and this regime, right? It's literally never been about, oh, go get the most money. It is, hey, this is, a way to build your legacy so that you can get paid later, right? How many times has Saleh said that during this run is, oh, I'm trying to get people paid. I'm trying to get people paid. Not that initial, right? You come in, do the work, and your work will earn you the contract, whether it's in-house like Quentin Williams or unfortunately elsewhere like Bryce Huff. We've seen that method pay off time and time again.
But man, it would just be dynamic to get Mike Williams, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Aaron Rodgers, and this offensive line is so good that that's the part that just makes me giddy, because last year we obviously had there was a little okay, this line is okay if it's taped perfectly together and nothing goes wrong. This 5 could be okay, and obviously that's not what happened. So I'm just so intrigued to see what Aaron Rodgers does behind this line and with all that talent. All right, let's get into it, Woody. So Mike Williams watch continues. Again, I'm keeping Twitter up, and I just keep refreshing the Mike Williams part of the Twitter shirts. Is there Schefter things or Josina? As far as we know, by the way, I've seen a few people ask, has he left? I have not seen that he's left yet. But like I said, I keep refreshing Twitter to try to see if we get any other Mike Williams update. Nothing else except for people keep tagging NYJ Matt I see about his sandwich. That's the only thing I keep seeing from big time people asking about the sandwich. But as far as I know, that's it. But again, if any of you guys see anything, feel free to YouTube super chat it in just so we don't miss it. But let's get into it, because I know one of the needs is this too. The top 5 needs at this point for the New York Jets in the middle of free agency, because, we're through the bulk of it, the front load of it anyway. There's still moves to be made, but also ahead of the draft as well. So let's go reverse order of 5 to 1. Let's kind of count down our way in there. Woody, would you like to go first or second?
Sure. Like 5-5, 4-4, like that?
Correct. Yes.
All right. Mm-hmm. Number 5. I expect this to be on yours, but maybe it's not. RB2. It's not on yours? Oh, it is.
No. I guess I'll just let the cat out of the bag. That is also my number 5. It is and I have it written. I mean, you people can see it. Let me see if I can put this on the screen in a clean way. Veteran. Let me make sure I don't spoil. Veteran cheap backup running back is what it says right there.
Yes, I see
So
it.
there you go.
I see it.
Yeah.
When we originally did this, Ray, you said AJ Dillon. I said Kareem Hunt. I believe was Dillon re-signed? I think I saw that somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know if it's official, but I saw that the expectation was Dillon was returning to Green Bay, and Hunt is still out there.
Yes. There are still some others though, so definitely grabbing somebody would be nice.
Yeah, I just want a dirt cheap guy, and I think they will be able to find that, even if they have to wait and be patient, because like it's March 19th, it's still so close to the opening of free agency that maybe running backs would still be pricey at this point, because a lot of them got taken up, and I'm not surprised because of the quote unquote weakness in the draft, at least from a perception standpoint. So NFL wanted more known commodities, and they were willing to pay for it. So a lot of names did come off the market, but I still think that there are plenty there as well. So yeah, I want a veteran cheap guy. And Woody, me and you have yelled at the people on social media about this, which has been frustrating, that people have argued whether or not RB2 is a need and Izzy is the guy and Brees is fine. What are you guys trying to take carries away from Brees? That's a comment I get all the time. And it's, it's really annoying. I guess there's no other way to put it. I was about to say, I wasn't going to say annoying because like I love the fans, but like it's just dumb. Brees Hall should never have 40 carries in a game. I don't care what the situation is. And that's what happened in week 18. And sure, that was a meaningless game. But if you have Aaron Rodgers in leads, that means at the end of games, you're going to need those 5, 6, 7-minute drills where you're just chewing carries. And while Brees should be sprinkled in on some of that action, you need another reliable guy that can eat carries and is a legitimate person, not just Izzy. And I hope Izzy, as your RB3 could eventually pop in there, be a change of pace, and maybe eventually even overtake the RB2 at some point. So I don't know who the RB2 is. I guess we can free agent tracker it real quick. So you're sticking by your Kareem Hunt pick, I'm assuming there, Woody, if you had your druthers?
I really like Kareem Hunt. I'm not sure who still remains because obviously there were so many, big names. Right,
I have the list in front of me. So I'll throw out a bunch of big names that are still out there in the universe. Again, there were a lot of signings. So let me see. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 22 running backs were signed at some portion of free agency, which is an unbelievable number within the first week. That is 22 names that are there on the sheet. But here are some of the big ones that still remain in varying order. Cordero Patterson, Ezekiel Elliott, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Deontay Foreman, Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins, Kareem Hunt, Rashad Penny, Latavius Murray, Jerick McKinnon, to name a bunch. So obviously the names aren't the same as they were after that big, massive 22 names I just said that were signed. But yeah, it's number 5 on the list. It's not number 1. It's not number 2. It's not number 3. Hell, it's not even number 4. Again, it's number 5. The last of my needs, but it's a need on the list, I think. Yeah.
Yes. And based on those names, I feel like J.K. Dobbins is a really interesting one, but I don't know if I'm trying to trust. Already trusting Aaron's Achilles to not play games. I don't know if I want to trust how many Achilles I'm trying to trust in one season.
That's fair.
To lift a large load. So. Dobbins is interesting, but I think Hunt is the safest, best option that can give everything that Boy Green was talking about before when we were talking about, saving Brees and not giving him 40 carries. I mean, his usage in college was one of the highest usage rates for any running back coming out of college. As soon as the Jets ramped up his usage year 1, we saw what happened. I'm not saying, he's weak or injury prone or anything like that. It's just let's enjoy a career of Brees. And I think all of us would be very happy about that. As for Izzy, I'm not as down on him as Boy Green. I think if this line is healthy, right, and they're creating holes, right? I mean, if Izzy has the vision, right, that's one thing, to hit the right hole and hit it hard. If this offensive line is as good, Boy, great. If his offensive line is as good on paper or good on the field as it is on paper, then Izzy will be perfectly fine. He has that burst. He has elite burst, elite speed. You're still questioning that one line?
You hit the
Should I
hole, hit the right hole, and hit it hard. That was okay. Anywho, yeah,
Yeah.
that's one way to paint it, I suppose. Okay. Yeah, I guess
mean,
Izzy can do that. I'll have to take your
that's
word
what you
for it, I
gotta
guess.
do.
But okay.
Hey, we've all done it once.
Right. Yeah. So
Yes.
yes. Yeah. So Izzy.
That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying. If it has to be Izzy, not as RB2, but I'm saying if Izzy is back there, I feel confident with this offensive line if they're healthy as they are constructed right now, even with Homer Simpson on there. Sure. Just create a hole, man. Do it.
I love that. Okay, I'm going to go to number 4 here, and then you could give your number 4. This is a super
Sounds
overlooked thing, this name I'm about to say, and I don't think many people have even said it this offseason. I'm going to go to backup center. Who is that on the team right now? Wes Schweitzer, maybe? And Rodgers was pretty pissed, if you guys don't remember, which would make sense because of everything that's transpired over the last year. But Wes Schweitzer, for whatever reason, had to step in there in front of Tippmann because Tippmann was playing third fiddle for a while, and Schweitzer was in there, and he was sending snaps over Rodgers' head, and he was getting pissed. Like, we're wasting reps by you launching these stupid snaps way above my head. And Schweitzer got a lot of crap, although he does have that kind of versatility to kind of be center, guard, and all those things. Connor McGovern, is that just the name? Again, I'm open to interpretation. He'd be a guy if he's willing to come back basically on that same price tag of $1.9 million. Tippmann's a starter. We know, and again, it's a great place to be to know. We already know right now who our starting offensive line is, all 5 across the board. So that part's great. And the other thing I like here is, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Only 9 centers have been signed, and some of these are interior offensive linemen, including the Jets' Jake Hansen, who is listed here at both interior offensive line and center on this bingo card. So there's 2 like guard centers that are listed here on the sheet. The center market basically is largely untapped. I see a ton of names on here that have not been touched by the rest of the NFL for whatever reason happens to be the case. There's veterans, there's young guys, there's all kinds of combinations. My preference would probably be bringing back Connor McGovern because he's already familiar with Tippmann. He already wants to see him in the Hall of Fame one day, which was a really cool quote we heard last preseason. So yeah, backup center, super important. That quarterback center relationship is massive. I'd love to see Connor McGovern back specifically, but 4th need on the team for sure.
Well, now I'm a little nervous that we might have the exact same list because I also have backup center right at number 4.
Okay.
And I think I've been on record time and time again showing McGovern all my love. I would love to have him back. I had the fun fact. I want to say last episode of Boy Green Meets Wudi, the fun fact of the last time that Morgan Moses was a New York Jet. That Jet offensive line was the 11th ranked line in football according to PFF. Well, who was that center? It was Connor McGovern. So I think having him back there, we've seen him play at a high level. Yes, his play has definitely deteriorated, but this is still sharp. And his mind, how he is helping Tippmann, review film and get better. Those are things that are really invaluable. Right? There's absolutely zero guarantee that any other center that the Jets potentially were to sign would A, be willing to do that, or B, do it to the ability that McGovern has been doing it. So I would prefer if it was Connor McGovern. And then, of course, if anything does happen to Tip, well, McGovern can go in there and do some work. I have no problem, having an offensive line where Connor McGovern is the worst player on that line. So that is my pick at number 4.
Okay, very nice. Again, I want to give a shout out. 1,500 plus people are watching right now. Unbelievable. So the numbers are popping right now. So apparently they're loving or hating what we're saying. Either way, you got to be extreme one way or the other. Either love or hate you. You don't want them in the middle. So they must be love or hating what's going on here. 1,500 plus people here live on what's today? Tuesday afternoon. Okay, I love it. All right, Woody, go to number 3 on your list.
Well, they might hate this one. Number 3, I almost put it as number 2, But I was like, all right, let me chill. I've said this enough times, and no one agrees, right? Everyone's like, oh, the defense is fine. But that front four needs to get pressure. We know Quinnen is going to get his pressure. We know Solomon Thomas, who has been re-signed, is coming off a career high in sacks. But on the edge, all right, Bryce has huffed and puffed and blown his way to Philly. That was a ridiculous quote. If I could walk it back, I would. I'm so sorry to the 1500. I didn't, it's a nursery rhyme. Anyway.
Wow, the numbers are dropping rapidly. We've now dropped to under 1,400. I have to imagine it's directly tied to that joke. So I guess I'll completely put that on your ledger there. But anywho, proceed.
I couldn't be more sorry, but we need an edge rusher. Jermaine Johnson, I like him. Will McDonald, we don't know him. JFM, he inside, outside. I need somebody I can trust. Jadeveon Clowney visiting with the New York Jets on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Whoo! I mean, does he have any other visits on the docket? Because if not, let's not let him leave without a contract. We need somebody, just a mercenary, just one of these veteran, I almost call them like assassins or mercenaries, like, they just come in for 1 year and just do havoc. Clowney is one of them. Yannick Ngakoue is another one. Just bring in these guys to just come in, get 9 sacks, leave. And that's a great way. If we're talking about all in this year, let's do it. Jadeveon Clowney, come on down. He's already coming on Wednesday.
Yeah, Jared B's right. I was about to say that Jadeveon Clowney also has a visit with the Panthers. So Panthers and Jets are apparently fighting for all the same free agents, it sounds like. And remember, he played at South Carolina. Remember, this is so old that, I feel old saying it, but Clowney, his big moment in college, and he ended up being the number 1 overall pick, was blowing up that running back. There may have been a Michigan running back in the backfield where the helmet flew off, and we just lost our bananas about that way back when. So, yes. And Wudi, wow. So for people who don't know, this top 5 needs list, it was Woody's idea, and then we each individually wrote up our top 5 needs without conferring with one another, and then just kind of showed up on the program. I have a weird feeling we may have the same exact list. I have it written here on a piece of paper. I have edge, and I love Clowney, and I've been pounding the table for Clowney for a bit. Again, I think he's elite again. Not that I think he is elite against the run. He has that pass rush juice. And here are the other names. The edge market has been pretty ravaged, and they aren't as they're a little loosey goosey here with positions. Like some of these are defensive tackles and defensive ends and outside linebackers. It kind of gets all mushy in here on a spot track for telling us the best free agents available. But Emmanuel Ogbah was cut by the Dolphins. We've got Yannick Ngakoue, who you mentioned. Like Calais Campbell, to me, is more defensive tackle than quote-unquote pass rusher, but it looks like the Jets probably did most of their work there on the interior defensive line with Sali, Javon Kinlaw, and Likey Fotu. Tyus Bowser's out there, but again, it's kind of Clowney and a bunch of guys is how I look at it. I know there's Bud Dupree. There's some big names on here from yesteryear that are mixed in. Oh, Jihad Ward, that guy who messed around with Aaron Rodgers in the preseason game. He's out here. I'm not surprised. But anywho, so there's a lot of names out there, but I want the name that we've already talked about. Clowney's a good pass rusher. He's elite against the run. That's the right combo. He's a guy, I think you're right. If we're talking about who's someone that we can bring in that is someone you may not want to let leave the building for what the Jets need. It's funny. I even flirted with in my head. I'm like, maybe Chase Young with the 49ers connections, all that. And then I saw I got a 1 year, $13 million fully guaranteed deal. I was like, whoa. I was like, okay, all right. I guess these edge rushers are getting paid, baby. So that's another one on the list. I had it at number 3 again. Most of my list is offense, but edge rusher I feel like is important, especially with Bryce Huff walking out the door. So I love Clowney. He's one I'd like to see. So jump right to 2. We'll see if this list 1,000% is going to go all over the place. And number 2 on my top 5 needs for the Jets right now in free agency moving forward, heading towards the draft, is swing tackle. And that's an important piece for me. Behind Tyron Smith specifically, but swing in general on both sides. You need somebody, especially with Morgan Moses 33, Tyron Smith, 33. You need someone. Is it Bakhtiari? You're really playing with fire if you make Bakhtiari the swing because of his own injury history. Is it a guy like Donovan Smith? You pluck the heartstrings. He's a Jets guy. Is that the veteran offensive tackle that you're willing to dance with potentially to bring in? Right now, that guy is Carter Warren. Are the Jets comfortable with that? That could be something that obviously we just don't know because we don't know. We've heard some people whisper about how high they are on him. Charles Leno of Washington, Andres Pete, whether you view him as a guard or a tackle. Andre Dillard was just cut. He's got Joe Douglas connections. We mentioned Donovan Smith before. No thank you on Billy Turner. I see he's out here. Chuma Edoga, no thank you as well. I see he's also out here. It looks like just a graveyard of Jets are out here in the free agency streets. But I'd probably stick to the top of that market. Again, Bakhtiari. Leno could be interesting. Andre Dillard makes sense. Donovan Smith, like those kind of names. The Jets need a legitimate guy because if Tyron Smith plays it as his career has and he plays 13, 14 games, you're going to need for 3 or 4 games someone to step in. And are you comfortable with Carter Warren? Maybe they are, but that's probably the area I go in. So swing tackle, number 2 on the list. It's very high for me. And why? The Jets could very well, the 10th overall pick, just go, F it. Joe Alt, F it, Olu Fashanu, F it, whoever that guy ends up being available at 10, because that guy will probably play anyway during his rookie season, and you need a long-term option.
Well, I told you that I almost put the edge at number 2 because I cared so much about the defense. Mm-hmm. But what made me move it down to 3 was that fool me once with the injuries on the offensive line. You're not going to fool me twice. You're not going to fool me twice. Need a swing tackle. Just like what Boy Green said. Is there an echo in here? Echo. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, you said it. You said it beautifully. Of course, I wanted, when we went over the position, the name I said was Jermaine Illuminor. He will now actually be the starting right tackle for the New York Giants. At the time, I was crying.
Great value deal. 2 years, $14 million. Not bad at all for Jermaine, especially as a starter.
Yes. That, and at that time, the Jets had not, didn't get Moses yet. Mm-hmm. We only had Simpson. So I was a little upset.
Okay.
But of the options that you just bring in a vet, if the Jets can afford it, would be nice. The draft. Now, here's the thing. I am very much against, and we already talked about this, very, very much against drafting somebody who like week 1, they're not going to be a key contributor.
Which would be the tackle. Oh.
Unless you trade back and secure another draft pick will.
I see. Okay.
So, because right now there's one, right? One pick in the top 100? Is that true?
Yeah, 2 picks in the top 100, obviously, but one other pick. I'm assuming is what you're saying. They have 10 and 72. Yes. 10 and 72.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yes. So, in the third.
Oh boy, we're losing Wudi. All right, 1 second. Let me try to see if we can bring you back in here. Oh boy. We might have lost Wudi. Woody's internet. Not sure. Wudi, let's try to bring you in one more time. Wudi, can you hear me? Oh boy. All right. Well, Wudi, I'm going to kick you out of here. I don't know if you can hear me, but we'll try to bring you back in here. We'll kick you from the studio, try to get your way back in here. And everybody, no matter where, now we're up to 1,600 plus people that are watching right now on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Keep your questions and comments coming. Also, any super chat action as well is certainly welcome here on the channel. And feel free to join the Boy Green Super Fan Club, which is your way to join on our YouTube membership group to get all kinds of cool and interesting perks. We appreciate it, so feel free to do that. And again, no matter where you're watching, we appreciate it. We're up to 1,400 on Twitter. So wowza, make sure you guys hit the follow button, and over 300 on YouTube. So guys, free way to contribute. Like the video, hit subscribe, baby. Support the program. All right, I believe we have Wudi back. So go ahead.
We back. All right, no, nothing's gonna stop me. Nothing. All right.
Yeah.
We
absolutely.
Out here.
I appreciate that.
Yes, I agree with this. Let's get to 100 likes. How far are we? Are we close? Let's get there.
That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know where we are, but like I said, I know we have 300 people on YouTube right now, so there's no excuse. That's a quick. You guys are watching, just go boop and then hit it and support it. So go ahead. But also, Woody, you were getting lost in the sauce there. You said that before we lost you there, you said that you didn't want someone drafted in the first round for the second year in a row to not be a unquestioned week one starter like any team in the NFL. You draft a guy in the first round outside of Patrick Mahomes, like they're playing immediately because you need them, because you sucked to get to wherever you were in the first round. So yes, so you said, predominantly that is your thought process, unless
trade down,
I see.
get that second rounder. And now, okay, if you want to draft like a, J.C. Latham or, Amarius Mims later in that first round, okay, cool. All right. Because now you do have that protection when somebody goes down. And now you could also grab that next position that I think we're about to talk about it. Which one of us is about to start that up?
Well, before we do, there's one other name that I saw here from server_assassin. I love that name. So let's bring. I think he was the first one to bring it up. So if he's not, I apologize. But I appreciate the YouTube likes going up. It's up to like 120 or something. So appreciate it. Thank you. Server_assassin says, bring back Becton. Let him back up and learn from these studs. Now, here's the thing. I know he visited with the Bengals, and they have a gaping hole at starting right tackle is where they have the hole. So I'm sure Becton would like to swing for the clear opportunity to start. But I ask you, yep, that was server_assassin, so appreciate you, buddy. So let me throw it to you, Woody. Would you entertain if Woody was willing to play offensive tackle? Put that one aside. If Becton was willing to come here, obviously knowing that he's competing, I guess, but not really, because it's Tyron Smith is starting and Morgan Moses is starting. So competing, I guess, for the top backup role, basically, and that if injuries happen, he's the guy. Would you entertain that? Would you be open to that?
They had the footage of him, and Aaron, their little bond. I'll say yeah, for a few mil. Okay, cool.
Okay. Also, let me just interrupt. I missed that. So Avatar, when everyone says, "Yeah, I missed that. I was driving earlier." Trent Brown signed with the Bengals, so now it's official. Becton won't be going there. So Trent Brown is the new starter at right tackle for the Bengals. So thank you, Chad, for that. That's exactly what I'm talking about. If the news happens or things that I missed, please throw it in there. So he's now out of contention, I guess, for that quote unquote starting job. So he's back out on the market. So would you entertain it? Would you be open to that?
Yeah. I think I would. I would definitely not. I would not prefer it. I think I would more likely do that, like that trade down and get like a top, one of those first 2 rounds, get somebody there. Because even like best case scenario, let's say best case scenario, everybody stays healthy in the offensive line, Jets win the Super Bowl. Woo! Let's go.
Yeah. Oh boy, we lost Woody again. Oh boy. Let's try to bring him on. Woody, can you hear us? Oh boy, it's Woody's internet. He just moved, so I guess I will kick him from the studio again and try to bring him back in here. Try to kick him out and bring him back. Yeah, Woody just moved, so he's in a new place. So guys, be very patient with Woody as he gets there. I will just say on Mekhi Becton real quick. He's a guy I like a lot. I like Becton. We follow each other on social media. We've talked. He's cool. He seems like a really cool dude. And he really wants to be around and be with Aaron Rodgers. But step numero uno for Mekhi Becton, I'm sure for him, is either getting as much money as he can and or the starting gig that comes with it. I don't know if there is one out there for him. Again, as I predicted a couple of months ago, my prediction for Becton is that everyone would come to the same conclusion. It was cool that you appeared in 16 of the 17 or started, it's the same thing, but started in 16 of the 17 games last year. But, looking at the breadth of your career, that looks like an outlier. You need to prove that you could stay healthy on a real-time basis before we just give you the bag. So I believed that is exactly what was going to happen to Becton. And so far, it looks like that, but, it could change there from Mekhi Becton. So TBD, I'd be open to it if he's open to it, coming back and joining the team. But we'll see, because ultimately with Becton, He did have that public spat with Keith Carter. He and a couple other Jet players threw a little crap at Keith Carter, who's the offensive line coach. So we'll see if they're open to it as well. Okay, I think we have Wudi back, so let's try this again. All right, Wudi. Okay.
I am based in North Carolina. Mike Williams, you do not want to come to the Panthers because the Wi-Fi is trash, okay? You don't want to deal with the people at Spectrum, all right? Please stay up in the Northeast where the Wi-Fi is actually good, right? Where the speeds that they tell you actually exist. Can you do that, Mike? Can you do that? Because down here in the boonies, there is no speed. There is no Wi-Fi here for you, Mike. Please.
It's funny. I was wondering what the pitch was. You know, the sandwich from NYJ Matt, like, oh, that's compelling for Mike Williams, or the guy in the bushes saying, hey, do you need anything? I'm kind of hanging out here already. But the anti-Carolina argument for the lack of Wi-Fi apparently is the solution for that. But I lived in South Carolina, but I drove through North Carolina a lot, and it was a long ass trip. North Carolina is big as hell. So when I'm coming up from South Carolina, I'm just going through nothingness forever when I made those drives. So I'm a South Carolina boy, but I appreciate that anti-pitch, but also sorry for you and your Wi-Fi situation. But thank you for continuing to try to power through. We can really respect that. So
of course.
Yeah.
By the way, I have COVID. I have COVID out here. Everything that could try to get me off this show is occurring. But I promise you, over my dead body, I'm not missing this show, and I'm not missing the opportunity to give you my number one pick, even though it is also very clearly Boyd Green's number one pick. I hope you didn't say it already.
I did not.
Oh, okay. All right. Who's going first? So we rock, paper, scissors? No.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I don't know if we can do it with your Wi-Fi situation, but I'll kind of rock, paper, scissors.
Oh.
Okay. Well, there we go.
Okay.
Why don't yeah. How about Wudi? Yeah, you just go. I think we're both on the same train, but.
Well, the reason why Mike Williams is in the building, the reason why we're giving him these sandwiches.
Yeah,
it's because the New York Jets need a wide receiver 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. Right? I know that's what your dad was saying when he was very bitterly giving you Tyron Smith in that ceremony you had of Boyd Green Daily last week.
Oh, phenomenal.
Yes. I've been talking about the wide receiver position ever since Elijah Moore was traded. I wanted JSN. Right, I was not a fan of Corey Davis. Then he suddenly retired. Alan Lazard, I'm still not as low. People literally treat Alan Lazard like he should not be like in the league, but he's had decent seasons. But
isn't that good though? Isn't that good? So apparently expectations were too high when he came in, and he totally missed them. Now the expectations are so low that it'll be impossible for him not to exceed them. So he's in a good position because that first time an Aaron Rodgers touchdown comes inevitably in week 1, people are going to be like, Lazard, I knew it the whole time. Yeah. See? So, we're going to get that.
That's true. So fair enough. But we need somebody. And Alan Lazard, even with me saying he had good seasons in the past, he has never, ever been known as somebody who can get himself open consistently, right? Mm-hmm. That's something that Garrett does, right? Elijah Moore was one of the better route runners on the team. I need somebody like that who is going to get themselves open, who is creating space out there. And I know Aaron can throw tight window throws, but why not make his job easier? That's where Keenan Allen really got me excited. Like Mike Williams, he's not even like the route runner in the route running echelon that I'm talking about right now. But at least he has the speed. Maybe Aaron can teach him a little something to, kind of create space. But that is what I'm looking for on this team that can be open.
Okay. I also have wide receiver, but I do, since we're talking about wide receiver, I just want to say, I want to pour one out and say, thank you, Joe Douglas. Not for what he has done at wide receiver, but what he hasn't done at wide receiver. And let me explain. Right before we hopped on the show, the breaking news came in The Cleveland Browns and wide receiver Jerry Judy have agreed on a 3-year contract extension worth up to $58 million, including $41 million fully guaranteed at signing, which is second only to Calvin Ridley, who got $50 million at signing. And someone tweeted it at me that average puts him in the same ballpark as Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, and a couple other wide receivers. I just have to say that the Jets were in, and by the way, the reason why I'm bringing it up is that the Jets were, quote unquote, in the conversation for Jerry Judy and trade talks. Jeremy Fowler had that. So they were in it, which means they would have traded for him. The assets, which, by the way, was a 5th and 6th. It was nothing, but it's nothing for a reason. More on that in a second. But number 2, the money that was set to come for trading for a guy that was on an expiring deal. I didn't want Jerry Judy. And yes, Matthew says it. What a bullet dodged. Yes, I agree. I think Judy is a fine player. Not $41 million fully guaranteed. That's the sort of thing when Garrett Wilson is eventually up for the contract, you go, what did we do? And then you have Jerry Judy, and then Garrett Wilson's like, where's my money? We're like, it's over in Jerry Judy's house. Like, are we breaking in and trying to take some of that money to give back to Garrett? You know what I'm talking about? So I just want to say thank God. Us as Jet fans, right? We pound the table, we play Monday morning quarterback. Joe Douglas, what are you doing, you idiot? Oh, Morgan Moses. Oh, nice move, man. Oh, what are you doing? What about Lester? Oh, Tyron Smith. Oh, nice. It's like, oh, Jerry Judy, son of a gun. Why weren't they in that? Like, no, thank you. Like Vera Diesel says he'd rather have Judge Judy. He said that's who I'd rather have. I'll just tell you, I'd rather have Cortland Sutton. There's a lot of other Judys. My neighbor's name is Judy. I'd rather have that Judy running routes for us, for Pete's sake. She's an old woman, and I'd rather have her running routes for Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, so is Judge Judy. Judge Judy is definitely an old woman.
Yeah. So multiple. Apparently, Judy is just an old woman's name. So I don't discriminate, but whatever the case, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. The point is that the Jets could have been the Jets, and I just want to say thank God it wasn't. So I'm fine that the Jets didn't go in those waters for that money, that everything. I'd rather, if they said, Paul, you can have door number 1, which is that contract I just read you, which, by the way, let me, just in case you missed this, from me and Rapport and everybody, right before we hopped on, Jerry Judy, 3-year deal worth up to $58 million, $41 million fully guaranteed. Paul, would you rather have door number 1 or door number 2? You have no idea what it's going to be. I will take door number 2. Thank you very much, without a second thought. Door number 2 could be OBJ, could be Mike Williams, could be nothing, could be the Xavier Gibson, Alan Lazard, and those guys lining up. Yep, I'll still take door number 2. Thank you very much. So wide receiver is on there, and that's why whether it's and I kind of mixed it up. I was going to do top 5 needs. Need number 1, wide receiver 2. Need number 2, wide receiver 3. Need number 3, wide receiver 4. So I was going to layer it out, but I just said, you know what? Let's just kind of put it all together. Jets need pass catchers. Let's see what door number 2 is. Is it Mike Williams today? He's obviously at the facilities, and we started off the show with that. Is it OBJ, which, by the way, right before we came on, I'll give you guys this nugget too from Connor Hughes. This was from his SNY hit. Let me make sure I read this. Interesting nugget from Connor Hughes. The Jets were involved and interested in OBJ a year ago at a, quote, price tag that was going to be close to $12 million a year. Right now, that number is probably half of that. He said Aaron Rodgers and OBJ have a very strong relationship. They've talked about playing together, and here is this, quote, there's still people within the Jets building that think highly of him, OBJ. I don't think anyone thinks he is the OBJ that dominated for so many years the crosstown rival Giants, but he's still a good player. He played well towards the tail end of the season for the Ravens. That is Connor Hughes on OBJ. So again, I'm interested in door number 2. Could be, so people are bringing up Tyler Boyd. I don't know who door number 2 is, but I'd rather door number 2, and let's see what happens. So a lot of interesting players, but let's round it out, fully going around. Final thoughts, Mike Williams, Jets, he's on the visit apparently. I don't think I've seen any updates yet about whether or not he's left, but he is taking that. And Mike Williams would be a fun ad for this team. Hopefully Aaron Rodgers can kind of be part of the recruiting process and bring some of these guys in. That would be a lot of fun for sure.
Definitely would be nice. I don't know what Jerry Judy did to some of y'all, man. But not to say that I would give him that contract, but he is a good player. And I think a lot of what we see in today's NFL are these two-headed dragons, man. I'm looking at, what the Titans just started and what the Niners have been for a while, the Eagles have been for a while, the Dolphins have been since Tyreek got there.
I can't believe you're on the Jerry Judy train. That is
did what? Did you hear me say choo-choo?
You said he's good. He ain't good. He's not good.
He's not good. That's an outrageous claim. That is literally injury prone is really the only knock you can actually say. But yes,
Drops. Wouldn't that come up? You said, is that the only thing you could say? Drops.
he is a fantastic route runner. Speedy receiver.
That part I'd agree with from Alabama. I remember his Alabama days. Sure.
Yeah,
look at these seasons. Look at these seasons. Let me just read this. So you got $41 million fully guaranteed. Here are his 4 seasons in the NFL. Okay, 52 catches, 856 yards, 3 touchdowns. That was his first season. Season number 2, 38 catches, 467 yards, 0 touchdowns. Season number 3, 67 catches, 972 yards, 6 touchdowns. Season number 4, 54 catches, 750 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's never had a 1,000-yard season. His high in catches of his career is 67. What are we talking about here? And he's only played in a full season once? Ugh.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Injuries.
Yeah, but where's the good? I'm missing the good. I'm squinting. I don't see no good on here. Where's the good? I see the fantastic route runner. I remember the Alabama days.
Are you looking at any sort of footage? You're not looking at footage. You're not looking at tape.
I want to watch the footage like this. I'm covering my eyes because there's a lot of drop skis. I don't want to catch. I don't want to catch whatever he has, and that's ironic because he can't catch. So yeah, you can run the best routes in the world, but if you can't catch for crap, then what does it matter?
He is not Kadarius Toney or even Alan Lazard. But anyway, I'm not even trying to go back into Judy. What I am trying to say is that around the league, we're seeing these 2-headed dragons, and the Jets have a 1-headed dragon by the name of Garrett Wilson. Yes. I need to see a second head. I need to. Is it Mike Williams? Is it Rome Odunze? Is it somebody else that we're going to draft? It is not Tyler Boyd. If Tyler Boyd is the pickup, that is no dragon. That is Pegasus. I don't even know what that. I literally have no idea what it is. It's not Pegasus. I was trying to think of another mythical creature. My mythical creature game is not good.
That's okay. And work on that. But I would just say this. I think you're right. I think the important task, Sauce Gardner actually did a wonderful job. He was on the Pivot podcast with Ryan Clark and all those boys. And he gave his wish list. They said, hey, if you were like the GM, basically, like, what's on your list? He said, protecting Aaron Rodgers at all costs. And whatever that means. And number 2, making sure Garrett Wilson isn't double teamed. And he said, whatever that means. Does that mean bringing a new guy in? Phenomenal. Let's do it. Garrett Wilson can't be double teamed, so you bring in another guy. So defenses, this is Sauce talking, like defense had to make a choice every snap. Like, son of a gun, if we double team him, then this. If we do this, like he wants that. Those are the 2 wishes from Sauce Gardner. Very simple, and only 2. Joe Douglas, check number 1 on the offensive line. Number 2 on obviously everything else. So let's see. So I agree. We need someone that could draw attention away from Garrett Wilson. It's unfair as it currently is. He's got no help, and he needs help. So a second dragon, third dragon, multiple dragons, dragon, bearded dragon, Komodo dragon. Give me any dragon. Give me Jake the American dragon from the Disney Channel. Give me. I am willing to take Bruce Lee. Enter the dragon. Give me any dragon that we can get. Daenerys Targaryen's dragon from Game of Thrones. I am on a dragon. A Puff the Magic dragon. Give me Piff the dragon comedian. I am willing to take any dragon that we can get and bring him in because Garrett Wilson friggin' deserves it. So we will see if that is indeed the case. I know a much longer show than normal here for Boy Green Meets Woody, but a lot of great content, everybody. So we appreciate it. Thanks for Woody, who's battling a lot of stuff at home beyond his technical difficulties, but powering through. And 2,000 people in the room right now, and that's not including what has been happening throughout the entire show. So thank you, everybody, for tuning into this awesome episode. So we're split between a lot of different places, but either way, no matter where you're watching, as we said earlier, make sure Sparky the Dragon, that's another good one. Make sure you guys on YouTube like the video. It's a free way to contribute and help this channel grow, and specifically this show grow, and also hit subscribe, and we'll continue to expand this channel. We're live on this channel every single day at 7:30 in the morning, plus in the afternoons at 3 o'clock, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And additional content, as you guys can see on the channel, like Daniel Jeremiah explaining his blockbuster trade idea. That's in our YouTube videos on the shorter end. And we'll be talking about that tomorrow morning on Boy Green Daily. So, Woody, thank you for powering through. We appreciate you, pal. And hopefully you're all healed up for Thursday.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Mike Williams. All right, Spectrum ain't it. Spectrum ain't it. Stay out of North Carolina. All right, stay out. Stay out. Stay
Good
up there in
advice.
the Northeast, man.
All right. We'll see you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, take care.